Hi, Carl Jung. I don't even know where to begin anymore. My friends say this relationship is toxic, but I still see his good sides. He's been deeply hurt before, so every time he explodes, goes silent, or says things that cut me, I tell myself, well, he's suffered more than I have. I pay most of the rent, I handle the house. I'm always the one who apologizes first. I've hidden all of this from my family, so no one will tell me I should leave. I know I'm exhausted, but every time I think about pulling back just a little, not texting, not listening, not fixing everything, a voice immediately rises in my head. You're selfish. You're giving up. He's already had it hard and you still want more. Right now, I'm so tired I can barely breathe. But I'm afraid that if I stop, I'll become the bad person in my own story.
When I listen to the stories of women trapped in relationships that feel suffocating, the first thing I notice is not the question, is he toxic? The first thing I notice is a different question. What are you paying for today? There are relationships that from the outside don't look dramatic at all. No smashing things, no screaming, no visible bruises. But if you look closely at the invisible bills being paid every single day, very often, there is only one name signed on them: yours. You pay with your time, your work hours, your sleep, your rest, everything revolving around the other person's moods and crises. You pay with your emotions. You absorb their anger, their anxiety, their panic, and then carry it home quietly with nowhere to unload it. You pay with your home and your heart. Someone comes and goes like a temporary shelter, using your space, your tenderness, your presence as a place to stay, then leaving when they've had enough. You pay with your self-respect. Every sarcastic remark, every eye roll, every cruel joke, you smile it away and say, "It's fine, he didn't mean it." You pay with money and energy, handling debts, bills, worries about the future, while your own future slowly fades out of focus. You pay with your right to make decisions about your life, where you live, your job, your friends, your dreams. Everything has to pass through the filter of what will he think before it ever reaches the question, what do I actually want? And the cruelest part is this: you pay by believing that if you stop, if you refuse to keep paying for him, you will become the bad person in the story. That's the moment when you're not just exhausted by the relationship. You start to become exhausted with yourself. Today, I'm not telling you to leave. I'm not telling you that you must forgive or keep going. I just want to sit with you and look honestly at 7 very specific places where you are quietly paying every day, and 7 boundaries that can help you slowly reclaim your life energy without turning yourself into the villain in anyone's story. The first boundary is the one that seems harmless but consumes more of your life than anything else: time. When did your time turn into a 24/7 emergency hotline for someone else? Before we talk about emotions, homes, or money, I want to ask you something very simple. In the past week, was there a single day that truly belonged to you? Many women tell me there wasn't. Every time he texts, "I need you," or calls saying, "I'm not okay," she immediately drops what she's doing, cancels plans with friends, stays up late, travels long distances just to be there when he's unstable. Her days off become crisis schedules. He's sad, she shows up. He's lonely, she shows up. He's free. She rearranges her life to be free too. After a while, if she writes out her week on paper, she'll see that almost all of her time belongs to others, while time for herself only exists in the leftover cracks. At that point, she's not just loving someone, she's paying with her time alive. Boundary 2. You are not an emotional dumping ground. When your time has already been taken over, the next thing that usually gets taken is your emotional capacity. There are evenings so similar you could recite them by heart. He calls. He talks for a long time about how badly people treat him, how unfair life has been, how much he's hurting, how miserable and lonely he feels. The call ends with a familiar line, "Thank you. I feel so much lighter after talking to you." And he sleeps well. You hang up. Your chest feels heavy again. It's hard to breathe. You lie there turning over in bed with nowhere to put everything you just absorbed. In conversations like these, no one asks, "What about you?" There's no space for you to say, "I'm exhausted today." That isn't sharing. That's emotional dumping, and you are the container. The second boundary sounds like this: I care about you, but tonight I don't have the capacity to hold all of this. I want this relationship to be a place where both of us can share, not where one person unloads and the other absorbs. An emotionally mature adult may need support, but they do not have the right to treat another person as a place to empty everything without regard for that person's capacity. When you name this boundary, some people will pull away. That may hurt, but it isn't a loss. It's a filter. Anyone who only comes to you when they need an emotional dumping ground will realize you are no longer available for that role, and that is good news. Boundary 3. Your heart is a home, not a temporary shelter. When your emotional capacity has been drained, the next thing that often gets taken is your space. I've heard the same story many times. He shows up when he's exhausted, stays when he's overwhelmed, asks to crash for a while until things get better. He uses your home as a place to rest your bed, as comfort your warmth, like a kind of painkiller. When he feels a little stronger, he becomes distant, busy, and disappears. The house grows cold again, but you keep his things exactly where they are, always half waiting for the day he comes back. If your home and your heart only feel warm when he passes through and go dark when he leaves, then they are no longer your home. They have become a stopover in his journey. The third boundary sounds like this. My heart and my home are not a temporary shelter for anyone. In real life, this can begin by clearly resetting the rules: how long someone stays, how they contribute, and whether they can come and go without notice. It means looking straight at the truth and saying, I don't want to keep living in a state of waiting for you without knowing where you actually stand in this relationship. You are not cruel for protecting your home. You are simply refusing to keep turning your life into a waiting room for someone who hasn't decided whether they are truly staying. Boundary 4. Zero tolerance for contempt and disrespect. There is something that erodes you faster than exhaustion ever could: contempt. It isn't a punch. It's a series of tiny needles, steady and constant. You overthink everything. You're too sensitive. Everyone jokes like that. At your age, you're still acting like this. Without me, who would even want you? He says it to your face in front of friends, sometimes even in front of your family. You force a smile and let it pass, because if you react, the answer is always the same. I was just joking. You really can't take a joke. Every time you stay silent, you quietly tell yourself, maybe I really am making too much of this. Slowly, you stop being sure that you even deserve to be spoken to with basic respect. The fourth boundary sounds like this: do not speak to me like that again. That is disrespectful. If you continue using this tone with me, I will end this conversation. And the hardest part isn't saying it. It's doing exactly what you said you would do. If the sarcasm continues, you end the call. If he humiliates you in public, you stand up and leave. Not because you want to win, but because at any age, in any circumstance, you do not owe anyone the right to look down on you. Contempt is not honesty. It is one person saying, I am above you and you are below me. And this boundary is where you answer with your actions, we are equals, or you do not get access to me. Boundary 5. You do not owe unlimited money, effort, or sacrifice. One of the most painful illusions many women are taught is this: if you have, you should give. If you can help, you should help. And if you stop, you are a bad person. So when the man she loves runs out of money, she lends it. When he's in debt, she finds a way to cover it. When he needs a place to stay, she opens her door. When he wants to start a business, she pulls from her own savings to support his dream. Every time she hesitates, a familiar voice speaks up, it's fine, I'm still okay, as long as his life gets a little easier. But after years of this, when she finally looks at her bank account, her health, and her future, she realizes the only person carrying all the risk is her. The fifth boundary sounds like this: I have helped up to my safe limit. I will not keep paying on your behalf. Love can be generous, but generosity does not mean sacrificing your own safety to protect someone else from the consequences of their life. If someone only calls you kind, amazing, irreplaceable, as long as you keep paying the price, and becomes angry or accusatory the moment you stop, then what they love is not who you are, but what you provide. Boundary 6. Your life is not shared property. There are women who don't just pay with their present, but with their future as well. They want to move somewhere healthier. They want to try a new career. They want to step away from a relationship that has become exhausting. But every time they consider it, the first question that rises isn't, is this right for me? It's, what will others think? What will happen to him? What will my family say? They live as if their entire life is a shared asset, one that everyone gets a vote on except them. The sixth boundary sounds like this: I listen to people's feelings and opinions, but the final decision about my life belongs to me. Setting this boundary doesn't mean you become someone who needs no one or loves no one. It means you take responsibility for your own emotional survival. Other adults may feel sad or disappointed about your choices, but they do not have the right to use guilt to trap you in a life you no longer want to live. Boundary 7, do not pay the price of believing you are a bad person. All of these boundaries are almost impossible to hold if deep inside there is still one standing verdict. If I protect myself, I am a bad person. Every time you're about to say no, to stop helping to silence your phone, to stop explaining one more time, that voice appears again. Other people have it worse. What kind of woman thinks of herself first? If a stranger or even the man himself spoke to you in that exact tone every day, you would likely recognize it as emotional abuse. But when that voice lives inside your head, you call it truth, and you keep paying with your self-respect. The 7th boundary sounds like this. I will not speak to myself in ways I would never speak to a woman I love. Every time the thought you are a bad person if you stop paying the price shows up, pause and ask yourself, if my daughter, my sister, or my closest friend were sitting in front of me telling this exact story, would I dare speak to her like that? If the answer is no, then that voice is not wisdom. It is the echo of people who needed you to stay exhausted so they could feel safe. And when you begin to set boundaries with that voice, every other boundary finally has a chance to stand. If you recognize yourself in one boundary here, or in several of them, it does not mean you are weak or foolish. It simply shows that for a very long time, you were taught that love means paying the price for everyone else except yourself. Today, I am not asking you to turn your entire life upside down overnight. I am only inviting you to pause and quietly ask right now, what am I most clearly paying for? From that question, in the next part, we will choose one boundary and one very small action to help you begin stopping the payment and slowly return some of the energy that has been drained from you for a long time. That fear you feel is normal. No one is taught from childhood how to love without erasing themselves. Your story is not the only one. I have heard very similar versions from many women across different ages and different countries, different names, different settings, but the same pattern they learned to pay for others and call it love. Every time one woman dares to set even a single very small boundary, not only does her life begin to change, but the story available to all other women quietly gains a new option.
Thank you. It was strange throughout the whole conversation. You never told me to stay or to leave. You only asked what I've been paying for. And for the first time, I could see that I'm not always the one at fault, and not everything is the other person's fault either. There are bills I signed simply because I believed that was the only way to be loved. I'm still afraid. I still don't know what I'll do differently tomorrow. But right now, at least, I feel a little lighter, thinking that if I begin to set boundaries again, maybe I'm not as bad as the voice in my head keeps telling me.
Today, we have only touched one small slice of a much larger picture: how women pay the price for others. In other moments, we can talk about the fear of loneliness, about old wounds you may be carrying for someone else, about relationships you have not yet dared to name. There will be many more stories like yours, and many more times we will sit here together. For today, you only need to take one thing with you. You do not have to do this perfectly. You only need to take one small conscious step. Your life will not change simply because you watched one video. It will begin to change the moment you decide enough. I will not keep paying the price for everyone else and calling it love. The rest we can learn slowly, one boundary at a time, one breath at a time.